Hi, Deborah Lee back again. Here I am to share my life story with you, the life story of much anguish and trauma. The book has 43 chapters and around about 570 pages. And today I'm going to start with the first chapter, which is about my mother and her mother, and it starts in Oakleigh, Victoria, in Melbourne, quite close to the city, back in the 50s. Wow, back in the 50s, hey. So I'm going to start with, the first chapter is called Oakleigh. That's the suburb in Melbourne. Rose and Iris. So enjoy my gum tree and the sunflowers. So here we go. Here we go on the roller coaster ride. We're going to be climbing up the roller coaster. And we're going to be going up and down with my life. So enjoy. And as I said before, I'm going to be like the grandma and the mother, because nobody read me stories, and here I am reading you a very special story. Traumatic, but special. Overwhelming at times, and yeah. So, Rose, who is my mother, awoke to the sound of sparrows singing and scuffling in the garden, their tiny little beaks looking for food. She could also hear her dog, Amber, scratching and crying behind the laundry door, needing her morning wee. Her elder sister, Beverly, lay asleep in all her beauty in the bed next to her. Her sister never slept with her mouth open, nor did she snore. She was so perfect, with her long blonde hair and her voluptuous breasts. Unlike Rose, who had auburn hair and a flat chest, apart from two small bumps, though she was pretty and petite. And see there how we see someone being, blonde and voluptuous breasts being the beautiful one, and then the little one with the auburn hair and the flat chest being, not the beautiful one, but they're both beautiful, both of them. But in Rose's case, Beverly was the mother's favourite. So yeah. So, letting out a deep sigh, Rose thought to herself, oh well, I better let Amber out, or she will put a puddle on the floor in the laundry near the toilet, and Mother will come out and walk in it, in her special slippers. And then Mother will go off her face, because the mother in this story used to get very angry too. That'll make her as mad as a rattlesnake. And she'll grab my little dog and she'll rub her nose in it. And that's what a lot of people used to do with dogs. They used to, if the dog peed on the ground, they just rub their nose in it. And I don't think a dog learns from that. I don't think so. But that's what, my mother did and her mother did. And then Amber will yelp, put her ears back, cower, and smell really bad, like urine. Oh dear. And then I won't be able to kiss her until I wash her face. Amber was a little Australian Terrier with a black nose that matched her black diamond eyes. She was also pretty and petite, which was why Rose loved her, because Rose was pretty and petite. She was fun, the little dog, and shy and silly at times. With such a love for animals, Rose could have been a veterinarian. had she not left school at 14. So back in the 50s, women really didn't get a chance to really go to university and do all those things. But my mother would have made a fantastic veterinarian. She loved animals more than humans. Anyway, she felt a little guilty that morning as she planned to go to the local dance with her sister, Beverly, and wasn't going to tell her fiancé, oh dear, Edward, as she felt that he was just so boring, even though they were to be married in 6 months' time. In fact, the celebration of their engagement had already taken place. She had her ring, her engagement ring, and had already received wonderful gifts such as double and single bed linen, blankets for the planned children, towels, vases, and lots of ornaments. And in the 50s, they were pretty funny ornaments, like ducks that fly on the wall. Ducks that fly on the wall. I remember all those ornaments. And even painted pictures for their homes. However, Rose always felt so empty. She felt empty when she looked into Edward's eyes and kissed him. It was as if there was a stop sign or a brick wall preventing her from feeling more deeply for him. And that's what love's like. Like, you know, when you meet the love of your life, or you know that you've met the love of your life, you know that you know, there is a knowing. But sometimes we lose the love of our life, sometimes we marry the wrong people, and sometimes then divorces come after divorces, until sometimes you do find that soulmate. But if we waited, and if we knew God, like I know when I was young, I didn't know God, so I just went from one place to the next, trying to find, that husband and that happy place. But I was always on the wrong path, which is what, happens to, men and women. They had met at the local dance 4 months earlier, and he was ever so keen on her. Rose had felt that she'd be helping to ease the financial burden on her family by becoming Edward's wife, and also that it was time to make a new life for herself, away from her mother's deep depression, which had been fueled by the fear and torment of war. And so Rose felt by leaving the home and going with Edward, that would help the financial pressure on their family. And that's why a lot of women did marry back then, to help their mother and father, and they'd go off with a husband that maybe wasn't right. So Rose was born in 1940, my mother, during World War II, and later when the entry of Japan into the war birthed a real fear and threat of invasion to Australia. Rose and her family were already living in Oakleigh, a Melbourne suburb. Their house backed onto the city railway lines, which meant that whenever a train went by, the vibration made the whole house quake, rattling cups and saucers and causing some of Iris's finer collectibles to fall over on the shelves. That had driven Iris mad, Rose's mother. The noise of the trains and of the planes flying over the city upset her greatly, causing her to live in total fear, torment and terror on a daily basis. She'd run through the house screaming and crying, "Bombs! Bombs! Bombs! We're all going to be killed! We're all going to be killed! We're all going to die!" There's power in your tongue. The Bible talks about life and death is in the power of your tongue. And this dear lady, she was terrified, and she didn't have any faith. "Run, children, run and hide. Run into the bathroom. Get in the bath. Put something over your head." Oh dear. "We're all going to be blown up, maimed, lose arms, legs, burnt, disfigured." Oh dear. Iris would have real terror in her eyes as she ran out into the small yard, flapping her arms in the air. Very tormented. That 1950s, a lot of women and men received a lot of wounds because of this time of war. And a lot of them are still out there, you know, wounded and damaged and have different diseases and depression and, it's just, they need help. Even as a very young girl, Rose would often be swept into the madness. She would grip the walls and wonder if that was all there would be in her life. Thankfully, not one bomb ever hit the city or their house. And see, that's what happens to humans. We think these things are going to happen and they never happen. And then someone like Iris spent all those years with so much terror in her eyes and terror in her soul. Sad. Despite being close to Iris and loving her dearly, Rose had never understood her mother's brokenness or her depression. Being so young, she had never been through such torment. Though at 17, she still had a lot more life ahead of her. At that time, she worked with her mother on a factory line making boxes for Polacco in Australia, a shirt company. Getting married seemed like a way out for Rose, a way out for her, as she could be Edward's wife, stay at home, cook clean, have children and be safe. That picture in Rose's head was so much better than being on a factory floor, but her heart didn't agree with her already 24-year-old Edward. Dear Edward. Wonder whatever happened to Edward. Edward worked as an accountant for a large firm and was mature, sensible, refined, and very dapper. Unfortunately, Rose found him dull, and each time she thought about marrying him, she felt nauseated instead of excited, like she had been led to believe love would make her feel. She wasn't even looking forward to their honeymoon night, let alone a lifetime together. Her thoughts and heart were given to some mystical, handsome, dark-haired man, someone resembling Elvis, because Elvis was very big back then. Edward was handsome, but just not what she dreamt or visualised. She felt she wanted to flee, but had nowhere to go. In her mind, going to the dance would be a way to escape that confusion. I'm just going to have a drink from my cup. And this says joy. Joy to the world. One of my beautiful spiritual daughters bought me this. Kerry. Love you, Kerry. I love that cup because it's a big cup. And I'm drinking a beautiful tea that I get from the tea shop here where I live. It's a beautiful shop. It's all real tea, not tea bags from the supermarket. But anyway, that's another story, isn't it? I'm funny. So Edward was handsome, but just not what she dreamt or visualised, which I shared. She felt she wanted to flee, yes. Rose got her thinking back on track and ran to get Amber, who greeted her joyfully with lots of licks while lashing her tail, her little dog, which was spinning like a helicopter. As she sat on the back step watching over her little puppy, running backwards and forwards, doing her wee and sniffing, they always sniff the dogs, they're so gorgeous, sniffing the cool morning air. She thought about how dogs were just so much fun. Dogs are fun. They're always happy. And they always seem to be happy. Then she heard her mother getting up. Roses! Oh dear, mother. Roses! Iris called out using her pet name for Rose, as she loved those flowers. She loved roses. Simply calling her daughter by that name made her smile and sent joy to her heart, lifting her out of her depression for a short time. A short time. Come and talk to me. Come and talk to me. Come and talk to me about what you and Beverly are up to tonight. What about Edward? Question mark. Oh dear. Rose thought to herself, knowing that her mother would want to know all the details, I've already told him that I'm tired and I need a night at home. So she was lying. So I'm not letting Mum stop me from going to the dance to have some fun. Edward was very confident, a confident man, and he was confident in himself, not the jealous type, and always content to stay at home. So she knew there was no chance of seeing him at the dance. So Iris, also named after a beautiful flower by her mother, was like a movie star. She was like a movie star, my grandma. Had she had more self-worth and more self-esteem, she could have been on the stage in Broadway. That's if she wanted to be. But she did. She did want to be. And she could have been in Hollywood appearing in movies. That was definitely in my grandmother's heart. She'd wake up in the morning, brush her teeth, wash her face and clean her teeth. Brush her hair. Did I say that? Brush her hair, wash her face and clean her teeth. Then apply her bright red lippy, as she liked to call it. She would say, don't go anywhere without your lippy on. And I'm a bit the same. I don't go anywhere without my lippy on. That's all I really wear is lippy. I like my lippy. Don't wear makeup. I feel that it just wastes my time at my age. So, Iris was just glamorous. She was a glamorous woman, a very glamorous woman. She was a woman people would look at when she was made up and say, wow, she was a glam. She was also ahead of her time as she lived and acted free of regard for conventional rules and practices. In these, she was bohemian. She was a very bohemian lady. She was a real character and would even do acrobatic headstands even when she was in her 50s. She was a woman of great physical and inner strength, but due to the lost love many years before, she was very broken. So Iris used to always share her story with her daughters and her sons many times. And her daughters would always plead, Mum, 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 tell us all about Jerome. Please, Mum, tell us about Jerome. And then she would recount her very special memory about how that morning when she was going to work in the cafe, she felt that something extraordinary was going to happen that day. So I'm going to finish just there, and I'm going to come back with the next part of this chapter 1. So I don't want these videos to go too long because some people they don't want to see long videos. So I'm doing my best to keep them to a certain amount of time. So I will be back with the next part of chapter 1 soon. God bless and thank you.